Hey guys, it's Trixie, and please excuse me if I look a little bit tired right now. I got up early this morning to make this video, which is also the reason why I'm doing this on my own, because Eric and the bunny rabbit are still sleeping. Of course, it would have been nice to have Eric sit by my side to talk about this second pregnancy, but you know, with the toddler, everything is a bit more complicated. This video here is actually planned as the follow-up video for the other video that I just uploaded on Don't Trust the Rabbit, in which I announced that Eric and I are in fact expecting another baby. So in case you're watching this one first, surprise! In this video, I basically want to tell you the story of this second pregnancy. How far am I? How does the baby belly look? How does the baby look? Do we know the gender already? When is the expected birth date? How are we expecting our life with 2 children? And do we have a name for the new one already? But first things first. Maybe some of you know that I am still on parental leave, and the original plan was to go back to work after this parental leave ends. In general, I took 3 years of parental leave, and now that the last year started, I was thinking, yes, I really want to go back to my job. I love my job. But at the same time, Eric and I also wanted to have a second child that is not so far away age-wise from the first one. And if I would have gone back to working, I would have done that for a while. You know, I feel like you shouldn't re-enter your job and then 3 weeks later say, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant again. Of course, you have the right to do that, but I feel like that's not the perfect way if you are able to plan ahead. And Eric and I were able to plan ahead. So we basically said, in average, making a baby takes a year because it doesn't always work right away. So if we start practicing like in August, then it may or may not happen, let's say, until January. And if I wouldn't have been pregnant until then, we would have said, cut. Okay, no second child so far, we're gonna go back to work. Not talking about completely correct math here, but we basically said, let this be a 50-50 chance and we just see. You know, I really couldn't say what was the best in our situation. I totally wanted a second child. I always wanted to have at least 2 children. But at the same time, I also truly missed my old job and I would have loved to be back. So there was no wrong option and we decided to roll the dice. However, how it always is in life, things turned out a bit different. As I said, we wanted to start practicing again in August, but when you take the pill, it takes a while for your body to start functioning naturally again. So I decided to already stop taking my pill in June to give my female body the chance to recover fully until August. Well, let me put it this way. As you can imagine, Eric and I didn't act like monks and nuns until August. So of course we did things, and since we actually wanted a child, you know, it's just 3 months later that we wanted to start trying, we didn't pay that much attention to whether or not there was a risk of me getting pregnant from that. And I became pregnant from that right away. I took my last pill in June and tested positive in July. But yeah, even though this all sounds very cute and almost perfect, there were some really bad struggles that we had to face. First of all, Eric had been searching for a new job, actually inside of the Hamburg area. We didn't plan on moving far away. So when he received a job offer from Frankfurt, that was really awesome for him and I remembered him being super happy about it. But it was not actually what we had been talking about, since I wanted to go back to my old job in Hamburg and we didn't know what to do. Something that also caused a lot of worries was a call that I received from my gynecologist. I had just been to my latest casual exam, nothing special. And a few weeks later, when we already did things that may have caused a baby to be created, she called me and told me that something was not right. You know, when you're 25 and older, gynecologists in Germany usually test you for uterus cancer on a regular basis. They just take a sample from down there and check if the cells are behaving the way they're supposed to. Well, mine didn't. In Germany, this test is called Pappabstrich, and there are 5 stages of results that you can get. 1 is everything is completely normal. 2 is, still everything fine. 3 is, okay, something weird is going on, but we don't know exactly what's happening. 4 is the pre-stage to cancer, and 5 would be cancer. And don't worry, I'm fine, but I was on stage 3. This can be just a harmless infection that disappears after a few months, but it can also be the first alarm signal for something worse. And let's say doctors are very divided in their opinions whether or not you should try having a baby with that result. My doctor said, it's fine. Another doctor I called said, please don't do it. Yeah, you can imagine what mental chaos this put me in. I just didn't know what to do. I don't know what was the most responsible choice. I really didn't feel well back then. And in all of this mess, little did I know that I was already pregnant again. As I said, I tested positive in July. And even though that was pretty shocking for me because I didn't expect it at all, it made some decisions a bit easier, and it also changed my mind on certain topics. At least what was done was done. So I didn't have to wonder anymore whether or not we should continue with our baby plans, even though the doctor gave me that call. And of course, now that I was pregnant again, I knew that I wouldn't go back to my job very soon. You know, Eric had this amazing job offer from Frankfurt, and I would be on parental leave very soon again anyway. So why not give it a try? And if things don't work out for him, we could just go back to Hamburg for the remaining time of my parental leave. Or at the end of my parental leave, we would have to find a way of how I could go back to work in Hamburg. By this day, we still haven't figured out exactly what to do, where to live, how to handle the 2 children, how to start working at my old job again. So yeah, Eric took the new job, and this was where things were getting even messier. Just imagine this whole situation. Me not really being happy with the move at all. I loved our old flat, I loved the Hamburg region, I had a job there that I wanted to go back to, and then there was Eric talking about the future or somewhere else, and let's just give it a try, and if not, we come back and it's gonna be fine. We will see when it's time. We'll take all of these decisions together in a fair way. So when we basically made up our mind, things took another turn again. I called the gynecologist. Hey, I'm pregnant. When should I come in for a test? And they told me to be there the next Monday so that they could test for pregnancy again, just the very first steps you have to take. Well, on that Monday, I went there. I was super nervous for some reason, and something horrible happened. The test at the doctor's office showed negative. I cannot even describe how I felt at this moment. The nurse that was with me didn't really say anything. She was actually a bit rude, something I was not used to at this doctor's office. She was basically implying that I was crazy thinking that I was pregnant because the pregnancy test they took was so completely negative. I really felt like an idiot there, and of course, I felt crushed. So my pregnancy test at home showed positive. The one at the doctor's office showed negative. Chances were really high that I would miscarry. You know, pregnancy tests measure this pregnancy hormone, and usually that increases a lot during the first days of pregnancy. So the test should have shown an even stronger result than the one that I took at home. But if instead it shows nothing anymore, it's quite unlikely that, you know, the hormone decreases again and something is not right. They just told me to wait another week. Nothing easier than that. I thought I was pregnant. I thought I would be a mommy again. But sure, I'll just wait another week calmly, happily, and then I'll get to know. No big deal, right? It drove me nuts. This whole week I was not myself. My anxiety was as high as never before. And of course, I took another pregnancy test at home, which unfortunately didn't help me at all because it showed a strong positive line that then disappeared after a while. So what does that mean? Let me tell you, pregnancy tests can be a science for themselves. So yeah, just imagine me being a complete mess. In the middle of, are we still moving now? What is happening? And yeah, Eric was there for me. He was compassionate and he tried to cheer me up. But it was not the same for him. He didn't feel this horror that I felt. Like every time I went to the toilet, I immediately checked for blood and I was so super relieved when there was none. Whenever I felt a stomach pain, I was like, okay, that was it. That's my baby saying bye-bye. And I was crying several times during the day, every day. What is my body doing right now? I think it's different if it's your body that this happens to, if you are the mommy. So I was pretty much alone with all of that. So just picture me in the darkest places of my mind. In a time where you're actually supposed to function perfectly because there are so many things to be done, so many things to be planned, so many things to be prepared. But then finally the next Monday came, I ran to the doctor's office, and this time they tested positive. I had another nurse this time. She was like, of course that one is pregnant. Look at the strong line. She even gave me the test and I still have it. So I guess in the end it was just their pregnancy tests that are a bit less sensitive than the ones that I used at home. They didn't show anything when my tests already showed something. So everything turned out to be fine after a week of pure terror. However, this cancer test thing and then the negative pregnancy thing had caused some damage in my mind. You know, during my first pregnancy, I was happy. I had this pregnancy glow, and yes, during the first 3 months, the risk is higher than usual that you may miscarry, that something may go wrong. But I just had this happy and everything is gonna be fine feeling inside of me. This time, however, because of all of these things happening, I was constantly in doubt. I was constantly worried still. And let me tell you, moving to another city and having a ton to do when you feel like crap doesn't make it better. Talking about feeling like crap, of course, I was sick. I felt like throwing up. I couldn't eat anything anymore. I had headaches and the worst emotional breakdowns. The typical stuff that you go through in the first 3 months of pregnancy. Which is usually annoying, yes, but not a big deal because, you know, you can just rest whenever you feel like it. Not when you're moving, not when everything about your life is about to change, not with a toddler at home. I'm not even gonna go into detail what that meant for me, but it was horrible. I reached my absolute limit, physically and emotionally. And then, as if all of this wasn't difficult enough, we had this huge conflict with friends of ours coming up that I mentioned in another video already. And I don't know if it was that or the stress in general, but I ended up bleeding 2 times. One time we even went to the hospital, but luckily the baby was fine. It was nothing serious, but it added up to my fear, of course. I don't know how many nightmares I had during this time. And I felt like there was a big rain cloud of threat over my head. Like every day something horrible could happen, crushing all my dreams, crushing everything I was hoping for. So I was basically happy about every day that passed, and at the same time every day that passed meant that the move was getting closer. We had to disassemble our furniture, sell our furniture, put everything into boxes, and all of that with your arms and legs feeling like butter and your brain feeling like mashed potatoes. A little crazy baby bunny running through the house, destroying everything. You know, everything just sucked so much. I couldn't do the physical work I wanted. I wanted to help and I couldn't. There was the time pressure. I wanted to pre-film some videos. I just didn't know what my life would lead me to. And just imagine you're moving and friends are coming by to help you pack all the boxes and put everything in this big truck, disassemble furniture, and you're just standing there asking if anyone wants anything to drink. Should we order pizza now? But you're not freaking helping. Of course I cleaned the house, of course I carried some things, but I couldn't do much because of the pregnancy. So I felt like the most useless, worthless piece of shit in this whole situation, always wondering what the others are thinking of me. Because, you know, this is completely not who I am. Under normal circumstances, I would have been the one carrying the heaviest boxes. Because I'm stubborn. I always want to show how strong I am, that I can do all the work a man can do. But in this situation, my hands were simply tied and it felt so wrong. I felt so stupid. So what I tried was to at least take care of the baby bunny, but that turned out very difficult as well. I couldn't lift her up all the time. She's 12 kilograms by now. And when you're pregnant, you shouldn't lift things that are heavier than like 5 kilograms. By the way, if you are a mother too and you're pregnant, forget about that. It is not possible. You will have to lift your kid up from time to time. But you know, I couldn't even be the mom I wanted to be. I couldn't snuggle the way I wanted. I just felt like a human failure. So when the day of the move finally arrived, things became a little bit better. But I don't know if you can read it in my eyes already. It was still not easy. Of course, all of the boxes we closed had to be opened again. We were basically here without any furniture. I didn't know anybody yet. And the worst thing was that we moved into this new flat on the 10th of August, and Eric started working in his new job on the 14th. So we had freaking 3 days to settle here as good as we could. 2 of them being weekend. And all of that with the little baby bunny wiggling around everywhere, with me feeling super weak and like crap. Oh. And you know, Eric tried to do his best to do everything by himself, but he also reached his limits at some point, making me feel even more guilty, making some comments he shouldn't have made. Everything was on the edge, everything was at risk. our physical, emotional health, our relationship, our future plans, our happiness. I think even though I had Eric by my side, I was pregnant again, I had the bunny rabbit squeaking and laughing and being happy. These months from June to maybe September was one of the most difficult times in my life so far. Even now, if I look back to this time, I'm getting goosebumps, you know, this is how bad it was. And you know, now I can say that I am fine again, but I am not perfect. Everything is taking ages, we still don't have all the furniture, and I still didn't settle completely. At the same time, I just don't know what the future will bring, what will happen to me. We're gonna have a second child, and I'm gonna be on parental leave, and then there are just so many question marks everywhere. Everything is so confusing and new and unfinished. So to make this a bit better, I started with a new bullet journal. I'm just telling myself every day that the answers will come at some point, that we will know what to do. And I'm basically forcing myself to just enjoy this pregnancy now, because most likely it's going to be my last one. And you know, this child deserves to be loved and to be happy about. And I truly am. I love this child so much already. I can feel it already. It's kicking me a lot. And I'm just so curious. I want to know what it looks like, what its personality is gonna be like, how our life together is gonna be like, apart from being super stressful and complicated. But I'm talking about the experiences, the love, the stories we're all gonna write together. On this note, I think it's a good time to end this video. I shared a lot of information with you right now, maybe even too much, maybe it was too much of a ramble, but obviously this is what happens when I sit down to film a video in the early morning, trying to open up a bit in front of you guys and yeah, sharing our little story with you. I hope that I can be a bit more active on this second channel right now, especially concerning the pregnancy topic and also topics such as anxiety, depression, how to get out of a very bad mood, because obviously that's all things I had to deal with a lot in the last couple of weeks. And it would be great to talk to you guys about that. As much as I enjoy making all these videos about Germany and the German culture, that's a theme. It's a predefined topic and I always try to find new ideas, but it's not completely me. It's only me talking about certain things. However, sometimes I feel the urge to talk about something completely different, and this is gonna be the platform for it. So if you're interested in this other part of Trixie, the more private and intimate things, then you should stay here and check it out from time to time. Maybe I can already give you a teaser for the next video on this channel, because when I found out that I was pregnant, I filmed Eric's reaction when I showed him the pregnancy test. And the video is just too cute. It took him such a long time to realize what was going on, that he was really going to be a daddy again. So I totally want to show this video to you guys, and I'm so curious what you're gonna say. Also, since we finally know the gender of the baby, I will also make a video about that at some point. And yeah, whatever comes up in my life, I'll try to involve you a bit more. I really wish I had more time, more energy to do all the things that are in my head, but yeah, as long as I can still do some of the things, I'm happy, and it felt good to share this with you today. So, alright, nothing more to say. Of course, you can ask your questions, just write a comment, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!